Hey guys, welcome to another video at Sweevel's Garage. This episode we are going to work on the C8 that I did the wide body kit for probably 2 years ago. If you haven't seen the video, you can go check it out, but it's in here. He bought a carbon fiber steering wheel, so I'm going to show you guys how to install it. Quick little video, just kind of pushing content out that isn't Mustang. So I know that's mainly our channel, but let's try something else, get a little bit more people involved and see how easy the steering wheel is. So I got it on the hoist. We unhooked the battery already. I'll show you how to do that just in case you don't know where the battery is. We have it on the hoist only because this one's pro charged and we had to send the ECU out to get a tune on it. So if you don't know, your ECM is underneath the car. It's kind of a pain to get to if you don't have a hoist. But anyways, take these things off. The side things, they just pop off. There's clips in here, so you just pry them out with your hands. They come out pretty easy. And then you lift up the front. There's a clip in each side here. Lift up in the front with your hands and then pull it straight out. Here's your battery. I unhooked both sides since I was unhooking the computer. If you're just doing the steering wheel, you only got to do the negative. So here's the pieces for that I'm talking about, and you'll see the clips on the side ones right there. Pretty easy, 3 of them. And then these 2 on the sides. So pretty easy. Wait 10 minutes after you unhook the battery to move on, and it's on a 10 millimeter. Loosen that, pull it off. Now, once the battery's unhooked, if you didn't leave the door open like me, obviously it's not going to work. So you got to lean in here, right here, pull that. It's a cable. It's like an emergency thing. Now the door's open. So now that we got this far, let's remove this steering wheel. To get started on this project, we are going to take this out. There's one on each side. You can see it's kind of loose. I'm going to use this windshield urethane thing or one of these. I don't know which one I'm going to use yet. Little pry tools, get in there and pry it out. So I'm going to get them out and I'll show you what's behind them. Now that these are out, I shoved mine in the top and then got the top loose, and then I just kind of, it falls out after that. So here's what it looks like. It kind of slides in, and then the top and the bottom have the clip. So pretty easy. They came out, and now looks like we have 10 millimeters on each side here for the airbag, which I'm a huge fan of because some of the older vehicles had those stupid things you had to push a pick tool in there and find clips and stuff, and I'm not a fan of that. So let's get these 10 millimeters out and get this airbag out. All right, we got the bolts out. So now you just pull it straight out, tilt it down, and you'll see the plugins here for the airbag. Obviously I've had my battery unhooked overnight, so I'm safe. There's 2 little orange tabs on each side. You got to pull both of them up to get it out. So I got 2 little screwdrivers here. Pry up and pry up. It should come out. I got to get on the orange. Just like that, comes right out. So pretty easy. And then here's a ground. Take that ground off, which is super strong. I think I'm gonna wait, get this clip out of the way. Just like that. Actually, I think we can leave the ground. Leave the ground, I think, till later. Now, here's one of these older style clips. Just pry up and pull, comes right out. Just like that. Maybe. Just like that. So here's the last style. You just pry up like this. There's a clip here. So now that we got this out, put it to the side safely. He bought a cover for his, so I got to figure out how to put that on, but we'll get to that once we get to the bench. Now that we're to this point, I'll show you what else we got to do. Now, once the airbag's out of the way, you have a clip up top here and then a Torx head for the steering wheel. So to get this clip out of the way, go behind your wires, don't hurt any. Pop this thing out, the safety thing. As you can see here, I got it out. Once you get that out, push up, wiggle it a little bit. It should come out. It's kind of tight in there if you got big hands. Maybe I don't got this all the way out. There we go. It's kind of tricky. You just push up like this and pull, but it's pretty tight. Now fold that up like that. Now let's get the wheel off. All right, it is Torx 50. Once you get it loose, I already loosened mine off camera because it's a struggle. You gotta hold the wheel. Now I'm just gonna use the impact. You can probably use the impact to loosen it, but I just didn't want to hurt anything. So now once you get it off like this, take the nut back off and thread it back on, probably 3 or 4, just by hand. Like that. And now we're just going to yank on the steering wheel until it comes off. And I'll set the camera up and show you guys. Okay guys, we got the bolt threaded in 3 or 4, and you can see it kind of moves a little bit. Just give it a couple, there we go. 2 or 3 yanks, got it loose. Take the nut back off. I say put the nut on because you don't want it to fly and hit you in the head. And just like that, we got the steering wheel off. So there's the clock spring. This is why we took that plug-in out earlier, otherwise it'll pull with the wheel. Now we got to go to the bench and transfer a lot of this stuff. So this is just the beginning of the swap. So, all right, here's the look at the new one. You guys haven't seen it yet. It's white, matches rust interior, white and carbon. Here's the old one, kind of boring. So side by side, pretty big difference. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start by taking this cover off the top. Looks like T10s. Pull that cover off. Then once you get that off, we're gonna pull these out. It looks like T20s. So let me pull those out quick and I'll show you what's next. Now that we got those out, there is another one in here that I gotta get out, I just seen. But how I like to do it, I took the 2 small ones out, I put them there. We're just gonna kind of map them out where they go in the front of the steering wheel, and then we'll put the back of the steering wheel over here. So all these screws are different sizes, so you kind of want to keep them separated. So let's take this one out. And then once I take this out, I think that top cover and this bottom cover can come off. Okay, I got that one out. This one stays here, but the top one did come out. I ended up putting the screws back in it so I don't lose anything. Kind of help keep track because that'll make this go way smoother. So now once we get that done, flip it around. Now let's take these paddle shifters off, which is 2 screws on each side. I'm going to take these screws out and then I'll show you the next step. And once you get the bolts out, like I said earlier, there's my front pile, this is my rear pile. So these 2 are for each paddle shifter. And they're just sitting in here loose, but if you pull up and wiggle them a little bit, they'll come loose. Now you see this little gray piece here. Got to pry that out. That's the little safety clip. And then once the safety clip is out, you just push on this little tab there and it should be free. So let me get the stand set up and I'll show you guys. Okay guys, here's how you do it. Pull that little white one out like that. Now push down. It should come free, so just like that. See that? Now to keep these left and right, I don't know if it matters, but we're gonna keep it as a steering wheel, just transfer everything over. So now we'll do the other side quick and then I'll move that one over. Next up guys are these T20s. From what we've done so far, everything is a T10 or T20. The only 10s were those tiny top ones in the beginning. And the rest has been T20s so far. So pretty easy, not a lot of tools needed. So once you get these 4 out, this is the cover. You have to wiggle it. Should come free. There's probably little clips in there. All this stuff clips pretty tediously. you want to go slow. So work the screwdriver around like that. Now once we get this off, there's tiny plugins that we got to get off before we get too far. You can see that green one right there. See it in there? Right there. Which is the same deal as the paddle shifters with the safety mechanism thing. And there's another one right there. So they're pretty tight. So pry that safety one up. This is probably gonna be the hardest part of this whole deal. There's that. Now push it, and there's one. And you don't want to pull on this because they're tied to the steering wheel. So here comes the other one. Pry up the safety. Maybe. Like that. Now push up. And there's that one. So now that we got that off, I'm gonna see if these wires are clipped in or anything. And we're gonna take this thing off slow. So I think for the most part, it's all loose. Yeah, it is. You just gotta unclip the wires in the back. These ones. Just like that. And little buggers, dude. Like that. All this stuff's clipped in there, so you just gotta go slow. Here's for the paddle shifters. We're gonna have to get them off like this. Pull them out straight out. I think it's for paddle shifters. I don't know what else it'd be for. But pry that out, push from the back with your screwdriver. That'll come out just like that. It's a brain to something. I just don't know what it's for. There's wires in the bottom. Just like that, guys. So we're gonna leave that like that for now. Flip the steering wheel back over and check everything else out. Okay guys, looking at it, let's take these two T20s out on each side here. And I think the switches from the front will come off. And then we can leave everything else plugged in from what I'm looking at. So there's that. Those two, leave them back over here. And then these two. And also, when I was looking at those wires I was talking about, that little piece, this factory steering wheel is heated and the carbon one is not. So he's gonna be losing his heated steering wheel. So we have to unhook that, which is, that is what that is. So the piece that I didn't know what is, it's a heating element. So cut these little zip ties there. Now get the wires off, set that aside. And then here is your heating element. So pop that off like that and that unhooks. So you can see the wires go in. Now this stuff is gonna go with the switches, which should be loose now, since we already took the front ones out earlier. Just like that, got your switches and now your bare wheels. So now both wheels are bare. Now we can move on to swapping everything back. So you can set this aside in a safe place, probably in the box that came in, because we don't need it no more. All right guys, this next part, we're gonna install these. I'm only gonna show you one side as they're the same side to side. So let's remove the two bottom T10s. These are pretty small. Try not to drop them. So set that one aside. We're gonna reuse these right away, so you don't gotta really worry about where they go too much. And then once you take these two out, that's gonna drop the switch Set that by the screws. Now this piece is going to come off like that. Now take off the plug-in, same deal, safety thing. Pull it back, push down, and then pull the rest of the way out. It's kind of hard to hold on to, or there's not much left. Now once you get this off, the switches are held in by these 3 10s. So we'll take these 10s out quick. Just let them fall on the table here. And then once these 10s are out, they come right out. Like that. Now you can compare it. Carbon looks a lot better. Slide these switches in nicely like that. Bolt holes line right up. I'm guessing they just skim coat the factory ones with carbon overlay. Now we'll put the bolts back in. And like I said, the other side is the exact same way as this side, same steps. And once we get that together, now we just transfer stuff back to the steering wheel in the opposite way that we've done. I'll still show you guys. Okay, that's how that goes. Now we plug this back in. Hear the click, push in the safety thing all the way. Now you come over here, that's gonna go there, plug this back how it was, the wires. Now this switch that we took off is gonna go up underneath this, like that. And then this goes over both, like that. Should kind of clip in a little bit. No, this goes under, sorry. And then these push in the clips. Just like that. They make it go in one way for guys like me that forget. And then once you screw these 2 back in, as you can see, I'm not using my power tools. This stuff's pretty fragile, and if you break one thing, it could cost you quite a bit and also set you back, because I doubt your dealership stocks these parts, as they usually don't break. So now that we got that, guys, we can start transferring this back to the new wheel. So I already did one side before I showed you guys, to kind of make sure I had my order in the right way. So let's get the new wheel over here and start moving it over. All right, now that we got those in, I'm gonna feed these wires behind here like that. And then put this stuff back in. As you can see, there's little holders here you want to put the wires in. They kind of feed up over here in the top. There's a holder in the bottom. Push that in like that. Another one right here. Kind of keep them from not getting pinched. And then turn it around like this. Put it upright, might help a little bit. And then we will go down like that. Put your paddle shifters down, the wires, feed them underneath like that. Just like that. Now we put our bolts in. Put them all in there loosely, as we want to make sure we line these up the best we can. So I like to put the front ones in, then the back, and then once the backs are pretty snug, not like tight, but not super loose either, then we'll come back to the front, kind of push them where we want them, tighten the front ones, and then we'll tighten the back. So get these all started. Like I said, you can see it snugging in. Just like that. And I definitely wouldn't use power tools on this part, as pretend you do break something in the steering wheel. These parts aren't very common to break. So your dealership most likely won't have it in stock. So keep that in mind. All right, we got those things all started now. Got them almost snug. I snug them and then I loosen them half turn like that. Just so you know that they're pretty tight. So keep these loose. Those are the powers that we're gonna have to hook up later. Now line these things up where you like. This one has to go up a little bit. Snug up the front, like I said. That one was pretty good. Snug that one up. Now, tighten these. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. And like that. Now, when we took this off, there was some zip ties down here holding stuff on. Now that that's not on there, we can plug in those really super hard ones that we had to get to, the green one and the gray one. Here, clip, put the safety down. Clip, safety down, put those through because they got to go out front. And here's your paddle shifter buttons. And so let's get the paddle shifters and hook them up. I lied, guys. I think we need to put this on first. Yeah, because otherwise they would have had to come back off. So keep your wires in the middle. Now this kind of clips on, if I remember right. But before we do that, I don't know why, but this company had a lot of screws in here. I don't know if they wanted you to use these, but where our screws go, I found a lot where theirs is already. Kind of weird, but I've just been taking them out and using the originals, as I'm sure they make these steering wheels from an original one. So keep those where I said. Went right into place. Now, like I said last time, we're going to start all these but not tighten them, especially on the cover. We're going to get them all pretty loosely started, and then we're going to check the wires, make sure we didn't hit any. That's a huge thing doing this. All right, they're all started. Move the wires. They all move pretty good. That's in there where it needs to be because the cover covers that. As you can remember, this was kind of a pain to get in. These need to clip in down there where we unclipped them. And I'm gonna clip all this stuff in and then tighten the back. We should be good. As you guys can see, we're almost done. I got all that done. Got those bolts in. All the wires are loose. I got that clipped in. The one part I didn't know what it is. Got those back clipped in. This is ready. So now we can get this top cover in. So we'll tuck these wires up underneath there. Push these down. Now take those T10s out that we didn't want to lose. Push this cover back in. And it should cover them wires up pretty good. Just like that, clips right in. So, it's a lot of work transferring this stuff. So if you're thinking about doing this at home, you're not very mechanically inclined, I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying don't try to rush it. It might take you a couple days. Might take you one day. I'm pretty experienced and it's taking quite a while. So got them in. Now we'll flip it back around. We'll do the paddle shifters. like that. And there's a little hook here. Make sure you get that in. So plug it in and then hook it. Plug it in, hook, push it down, just like that. And I'll do the other side. Plug it in. And then hook it, push down. So those were T20s, one on each side. And then if you guys didn't have the LEDs on the top, you could throw it in after this. But since this one has LEDs, I got to do some research, and figure out where to pick up power and ground at. So that's not going to affect anything, especially an airbag. So it's just a lot more work. Once these last two are in, we have one more bolt that we kind of forgot about, which is the front bottom. That's another one that holds this back cover on tight. So we got to get that in, then we're golden. And now that I'm looking at it, there is little holders here for the wires. They kind of fall into place themselves though, to be honest. And just like that, guys, we are finally done transferring everything. I don't want to tell you how long it took. There was some bloopers in there that I changed out. So if something didn't make sense, that's why. We're not all perfect. But we got her done. So it's all that matters. Just like that, it's all done. Paddles, negative, positive, got them in. That plugs into the clock spring. So now we gotta figure out where to plug these things in at. So I'm guessing it's these two big ones, but you can't guess when it comes to this stuff. So I'm gonna take a little break, do some research. Once these two are plugged in, the rest is cake. So it's coming together, it looks pretty nice. All right, guys, the work never stops. I sent him a picture out thinking he'd be happy, and all he said was, I have carbon fiber paddle shifters in the car. So I swapped one side already. See if I can find it. Maybe I put it back on. Yeah, it's on there. Got that on there. We got to swap the other side. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It's kind of not very self-explanatory. So we're going to do that one with you guys. And then I did find out the wires, and I got one soldered. So the red is here, and the black is behind it. So I used a razor blade, cut really carefully the insulation or whatever you want to call it, wrapped it around there tight, and then soldered it. Now I'm going to tape it, and then we're going to do the black one. So I'll show you the black one a little bit more further, but let's do this paddle shifter with you quick. All right, guys, the paddle shifter, there's these two little tabs here. You got to pry them up. Once you pry them up, it slides off some other pegs like that. Then you lift it off. So once this is off, there's this little peg that goes all the way through there. Take a pick or something, screwdriver, whatever you got, and push on the smaller end. It's kind of hard. It has like a clip in there. Just like that. See how it comes out? Once that's out, this thing's gonna pivot and slide out just like that. This white piece can come off. Make sure you keep that in there. It falls off if you're not careful. Now, these two little things here go in there, just like that. But before that, check the holes. See the holes? Both of them have stuff in them. Let me show you this. I ran into this at the other one. See that perfect hole? Nice and easy. There's stuff in this, so I gotta drill those out. And when you drill them, one of them's smaller than the other one. So I'm gonna drill these out quick, and then we'll show you how to put together. All right, as you can see, I got them drilled out. So now we go back to where we were. Have that fold in like that. Kind of clips in, you can kind of hear it. And then the bottom is for the smaller piece. You can see how this gets bigger. So put the top in first. Might have to wiggle it around a little bit. And kind of falls into place once you get it all lined up right. Just like that. Now you'll see it sits like that. Some people like to push it in the screwdriver. I like to use a channel lock so I don't slip and hit the carbon. Just like that. Did you hear it clip? Pretty easy. Now you can see the bottom's in, top is in. Now that is why this piece slides on, so this can't come out. So you can, before I put it together, I was test it. You can kind of feel it. And then once that feels like it should, you just clip that back on. This side's done. So just like that, guys. Now let's bolt it back on. Got the paddle shifters on, guys, left, right, both click like they should. Now I did get this negative one done, so now we're gonna solder it, and then it'll look like that when it's done. I put extra tape on there because I never want it to run through, so I'm gonna solder that, and then we'll tape it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Just like that, got them both done. Now just to keep them from touching, they're on the opposite sides of each other, so I'm gonna tape this thing kind of tight with the black tape, and then we're gonna plug it back in down there, and the wheel's ready to go back in. Just like that, guys, got it all taped up, plugged in, clipped in. I ran the wires down underneath and then into that factory thing right here. So it looks all factory, it's out of the way of the airbag. So let's get this thing back in. Okay guys, we got the wheel back here. We're gonna put it exactly how it was, which was the wheel was centered. It is key weight, so you don't gotta be absolutely perfect as it's gonna be there. Click that in like that. Push the safety lock in. That's clipped in. I'm reusing the bolt. You might not want to, but I always have on steering wheels. I cleaned all the thread locker off. Gonna put my own on there, blue. They had a lot on their factory, so kind of put a lot back on there. So screw it in by hand so you know you're not cross-threaded. Now you guys can use the torque spec. I just give it some ugga-duggas. This is one of my good friends, so I treat his cars like my own. And this is what I do to mine. Just like that. So the old wheel, the pink was pointing straight down, so I did it until it's straight down. It's tight, feels good. Calling it good there. It's got a lot of Loctite on it, so it should be good. So now we just got the airbag. So let's go back over there and figure out how to transfer that stuff over. Once that stuff's done, should be complete. So not too bad. All right, next step, guys. He got their brand airbag cover. This is the factory. So when I turn these around, you can kind of see what we got to do here. So start by taking these 4 nuts off, and then after we get those off, we'll see what's behind there. Okay, I just removed those 4 bolts. I lifted up on this slow. You got to take that ground off. And then once you get here, it looks like you just push like that. That slides off. Now the bag is all compressed in there. So now we got to open that up, put the bag in this, and then we got to try to line up all these things back in there, which you can see these are all like melted and broken. So we'll have to do our best. But like I said, just pull this up, that bag will come out. We're gonna have to try to keep it as nice as we can. Fold it up and move it over. So hopefully it comes out pretty easy. I'd never like messing with airbags. I always tell customers I don't recommend these covers, but nobody listens, you know. So I'm gonna work on getting that out and putting it in the other one.
Once you get it out, there's no nice way to do it, I guess. You just kind of got to pull it out, and then you want to keep it as wrapped up as you can. Shove it in this one. It's not very fun to do, to be honest. I mean, it's not hard, it's just you want to get it packed in there exactly how the factory had it, so if it ever has to go off, it's going to go off correctly. And like I said, I don't like to mess with safety stuff like this, to be honest. Doesn't make sense to me. Getting it close. Like I said, this has to go all the way under all of these clips. So it takes some finessing. So I'm gonna keep working it until I get it to where we need to be, and then I'll show you. Okay guys, I got it in there. Like I said, it's not extremely difficult. I just try to get all the seams as good as I could in there, tucked where they need to be, if you know what I mean. So this side, it's close, but the other sides look a little bit better. But it's in there. Now, take this piece back, and like I said, these things aren't all where they need to be in this one, so we're just gonna have to get it close. If I were a bet man, I'd guess this guy that builds these things buys wrecked ones, you know, so he doesn't have to fork out as much money to make his brand airbag. So that's probably why some are bent, I'm guessing. We're already hitting this bottom one, so we're in on all of them except the bottom one. So I think I'm gonna take it back apart, and then I think I'm gonna heat this up and melt it over. As you can see, that one's bent down, so I'm gonna figure it out. It worked. Used a needle nose, bent it over. So that's in, pushed it in as far as I could. Now we'll put this piece back on. And once this is done, we can finally bolt this on the steering wheel and see what it looks like. So I'm gonna buzz those on. Don't forget your ground, and there is a little lock in the middle. That's why I couldn't get it off earlier in the video. So make sure you get that lock in there. Now let's tighten her down. That's what it looks like, guys. Got them all tight, as you can see. There's still some spring in there. See that? That's what you want. I re-Loctited it with blue, just like factory. So now we got it swapped out. This is the brand of the steering wheel. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not gonna. But there it is, guys. Let's get this thing done. Okay guys, reverse the order. We don't got to worry about the plugins right now because the battery is unhooked, so don't be stressing out about anything. Plug that one in, push in all the safeties, make sure they're all the way in when you clip them. Just like that. And I got the purple one. Hear it click, and then the pink one. Hear it click. Now those you don't got to worry because those plastic safeties going by themselves. Make sure the wire goes where it needs to be, just like that. Now we just gotta put the 10 millimeters back in, and then the covers. So there's one. There's two, so tighten these up. There's one. There's two. Still have the spring for the horn. Now these clips that we took off at the beginning, and we're done. There's one. There's two. Just like that, guys. Took a while, I'm not gonna lie, but I wish we could try it, but the ECU is still not here, so we can't hook the battery up yet. But once we get it, we'll test it and see what it looks like. Here's what it looks like, guys, installed with the interior. This has the carbon fiber interior package and the white, so looks pretty good. I'm personally not a fan of the logo, but I probably would have left a Corvette one in there. But anyways, he's supporting the brand of the wheel, so that's cool. And the carbon paddles really helped it out. So, looks pretty good. So once the battery gets here, we'll see if it lights up and how everything looks. Well, guys, it's the next day. We're waiting on the ECU to see if that thing can light up. And I don't know if you guys are watching this. You probably own one of these. This one's got a big old Pro charger on it. Sounds pretty cool. Right now I just got all these wires moved. I got to pull that plug out, and he wants 2 quarts of transmission fluid in there. If you guys have one of these and you haven't did it, you can do some research. If you track them a lot or go on long trips, people like to do it because when you floor it or turn sharp, the fluid swashes around and it kind of goes dry. So he thinks with the Pro charger, when he launches it, it's getting dry. So we're just gonna throw the 2 quarts in there, which a lot of people do. You can do your research, and hopefully it helps. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys the Pro charger. The thing is massive. Look at that thing. It's huge. If it'll focus. Pretty cool. So another thing I noticed that I got to show them, I don't know if the belt's getting ate up or if that's kind of how they run, but if you look, see the end? You'd think the belt would be bigger since you have that much room, but it looks like it's only been wearing that the whole time, but that's something to keep an eye on there. It's a whole belt. So pretty cool. So let's get this thing wrapped up, and when that ECM comes, I'll show you guys the steering wheel. Just like that, guys, it's all hidden. The fluid's in there. Barely can see anything now, but looks pretty cool. He does have the upgraded carbon fiber lid, and that piece looks pretty good. And if you guys wanted to add that fluid to your guys's, here's the part number for the stuff. So it'd make it a little easier at the dealership for you. And it's about 50 bucks a quart if you don't have an account. All right, guys, moment of truth. Got the computer in, the battery's hooked up. See if it lights up. Should. We don't have the OB2 in though, so maybe that needs to be hooked up. All right, guys, we found it. So let's see if it works. Now it should turn on. I'm gonna give her a rev or something. There we go. Woo-wee. Did it right. Let's see if it works. There we go. All right, guys. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one. He's gonna see if it'll go into limp mode. That thing looks sweet.